We are the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. New York's Stonewall National Monument Visitor Center is getting ready to open this Friday, June 28th.
DeSantis slashes state arts funding, hitting LGBTQ plus organizations hard.
Bill Maher's new book challenges historical revisionism, makes fun of gay media, and warns against rewriting history.
A recent ruling by the right-wing members of the U.S. Supreme Court could hamper LGBTQ plus marriage equality.
Trump seeks guidance from former acting director of national intelligence Richard Grenell, who is openly gay, ahead of CNN debate.
And tonight, in breaking news, we're going to report on trans healthcare. The Supreme Court announced today that they will take up trans healthcare and its legalities. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening television news, broadcasting live and available on your favorite streaming channels. We're proud to announce that YouTube has recognized Queer News Tonight, certified by analytics company Vidic, that we have had more than 9 million views thanks to you. It's Monday, June 24th, 2024, and we are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens unique in LGBTQ plus news, you will see it and hear it.
Hotspots Magazine Happening Out Television Network is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ plus community. Our mission is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ plus community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of our queer culture, the Black community, Latino, lesbians and queer women, trans, students and youth, seniors, HIV and AIDS healthcare, business, social justice, and faith. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ plus nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
In 2024, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ plus experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ plus and broader community.
That's right, Nico. And let's meet tonight's anchors at Queer News Tonight. We'll begin with Edward Otto Zielke. Hi, Ed. How are you? From a successful career in financial marketing to his current role as the Director of Marketing and Sponsorship for the Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida, Edward's journey is marked by so many accolades that it would take 3 Queer News Tonight shows to tell you all of his achievements, okay? The Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida is one of the world's largest and most important LGBTQ plus cultural arts organizations. Edward, a multi-generational concert celebration pride, right, then, now, and forever, is taking place at the Parker, June 29th. Tell me what's happening.
Yeah, so it's finally here, Concert Week. We're in Tech Week rehearsals at the Parker right now. It's going to be on Saturday, June 29th. You could still get tickets. We have maybe about 100 tickets left. Go to gmcsf.org. You're going to hear songs all the way from the 1970s all the way to the present. You'll hear classics like Dancing Queen, yes, I'm Coming Out, Cher's Believe. You got YMCA. Wow. You've got It's Raining Men. I mean, these are just some classic gay anthems that, yes, we've got. And yeah, it's really exciting. We also have 2 commission pieces that have been written for our concert as well. One of them was written by one of our board chairs, one of our board directors. We've come through the storm. It's a new anthem for us. It's going to give us a little bit more power going into the next year. And also another jaunty, robust song called Don't Say Gay. Oh, that's right. You're going to hear a premiere for the first time at our concert. Yeah. So,
original music. What?
Exactly. And then the following 2 weeks later, we're going to be in Minneapolis. We're going to be performing out there as well with gala choruses. So that's going to be exciting for us as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and you're going there in the summer, thank goodness. So you're not going to freeze your beautiful tuchuses off.
I haven't been out to Minneapolis in July, so hopefully it's not so
It's
colder.
still not going to be like summertime.
It's not going to be like here, but
Yes. Well, thank you so much. And it's going to be amazing for sure. Next up, let's welcome Yvonne Rohrbacher. Yes, I got that right. I think I did, right?
I think
Yvonne?
so.
Okay, good. Yvonne is a 35-year activist in South Florida and was the publisher of our first gay yellow pages in the 1990s. Were they yellow? Were they rainbow?
Not usually.
No.
Rainbow. Rainbow, yes. Not usually yellow.
She started with a broadcast on the 2000 show on Party 93.1 radio with Mark Gilbert, Issues Over the Rainbow, and currently her involvement includes the Women's Fund at Stonewall Museum and Library, the Lesbian Thespians that I love. Hi, Carol, I adore you. Fundraising and performances that she assists with. And now here on Queer News Tonight, we're super happy to have you, Yvonne. So, Yvonne, the Florida Outcoast Convention, FLOC, is going to return this year and is coming to Miami on August 12th and will run through August 14th at the Lowe's Coral Gables. Tell me what's happening.
Oh, yes. And speaking of things like Don't Say Gay, this is so crucial that we're doing this for the second year in a row. The first event was in Tampa last year, in a state where we have this dichotomy of our governor doing some of the things that are going on in Tallahassee, and Miami, where the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau teaches a certification for businesses on how to welcome LGBTQ plus tourists. Now, I realize we're on opposite ends of the state, but we are still in the same state, and people do see it that way. So the fact that we're doing this awesome Florida Outcoast Convention for the second year in a row should give everyone just a lot more confidence about our future and how determined we are. So 3 full days of educate, celebrate, lead. You know, if you want to lead with inclusion and you're a person who doesn't necessarily think about whether the LGBTQ plus people are visiting your hotel or your tourist attraction and you want to learn more about that, or you just want to be one of those people that is in the lead of businesses that are saying, hey, this is what we're doing to make sure everyone knows that we're into inclusion. This is the place to be, whether you want to be a vendor or just attend the amazing seminars. And I'm pretty sure I've seen the name of the MC somewhere before. Is somebody else coming that you know?
Yvonne, it's a really funny lesbian. I'll be hosting FLOC the whole entire convention, and I couldn't be happier. When Rachel tagged me to host, I was like, hell yeah, you know? I mean, LGBTQ plus brings so many tourist dollars to Florida, right? And people forget. And if you want a piece of that pie, you should be at FLOC yourself. Just like Yvonne said, it's going to be a fabulous time. August, Miami, the Lowe's, it doesn't get any better than that. And
no, it does not. And although she's going to be the most beautiful speaker there, I'm sure there are tons of people that you've heard of from the LGBTQ plus community and the tourism community here in South Florida and from the Greater Miami CVB there speaking. That's just going to be awesome.
Yes, like Dan Rios. I love Dan Rios. He's one of my favorite people in life. So I'll definitely get your tickets today. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. August will be here before you know it.
That's true.
Next up, let's welcome Nico Cales. He's a passionate learner and leader. He loves connecting with people, exploring new places, and creating meaningful memories. Nico is currently pursuing an MBA in marketing. Welcome back, Nico. How you doing, Papi?
I'm doing really good. I'm excited to be back.
How was Pride? Did you enjoy Pride?
It was very fun, very exhausting, but I'm glad it happened.
Overwhelming, but I mean, come on, you're a young kid, okay? You're the youngest one at this table by not a lot. Okay. You know, I mean, how was Pride for you being like a youngin like that, you know, during an election year that is just like so critically important to our community?
I felt very liberated and very happy to be with the community, and yeah, it was great. Just feeling like I can just express myself so confidently and not letting like the outside forces like get in my head.
Yes. Yes.
So.
And he was walking with Latino Salute. Okay. If you know Latino Salute, they don't allow any ugly people like in their pride parade. I don't know if they do a casting call. I don't know if they find them on Grindr. I don't know exactly how that works. But everybody who walks with Latino Salute is hotter than the last with less clothes.
So you were there too?
Oh, yeah. I wanted to be there. I wanted to jump right off the stage and get in there with Latino Salud and Nico, because that's how hot they are.
And of course, this is tonight's lead anchor, FayWhat. I can't do it like he does it.
You can do it.
FayWhat.
You did.
He is a legendary events host and television and radio personality and the host of the FayWhat show on Mondays at Hotspots Happening Out. So welcome, Faye.
Thank you so much. And listen, folks, make sure that you watch my show. This morning, I had the incredible Robert Keston on my show. You know him from the Stonewall Museum, Library and Archives. He's an incredible human being. Did you know he used to be an actor? He ran for Congress and he also sings. Okay? I bet you did it. And that's not even some of the tea. We've got a lot more tea. Make sure you watch the FayWhat show to find out. All right. We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight. And this evening, we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast. And here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Monday, June 24th, 2024. Let's begin by queering up breaking news. Supreme Court will make final decision on transgender kids' access to gender-affirming care. In a move that will redefine the legal landscape for transgender rights in America, the U.S. Supreme Court announced this morning they would hear a case challenging Tennessee's ban on gender-affirming care for minors. The case was brought by the Biden administration. Tennessee families and healthcare providers argues that the state's law is discriminatory and unconstitutional. The Solicitor General Elizabeth Prelogar, emphasized the urgent need for court intervention because of profound uncertainty faced by transgender adolescents and their families due to conflicting lower court decisions. 26 states have enacted laws banning healthcare access for transgender youth. Chase Strangio, the American Civil Liberties Union Deputy Director for Transgender Justice, said, quote, "The future of countless transgender youth in this future and in the future generations rests on this court adhering to the facts, the Constitution, and its own modern precedent. These bans represent a dangerous and discriminatory affront to the well-being of transgender youth across the country and their constitutional right to equal protection under the law," end quote. The law will be argued next fall, setting the stage on what will likely be a landmark moment for trans rights in America. I can't believe this happened this morning, and we had to add it to Queer News Tonight because of its importance. And so I quickly went on over to my dear friend ED at Pride Lines, Dr. Edward Summers, who sits at this table with us often. Mm-hmm. And he also deals with a lot of LGBTQ plus youth. Therapy, gender-affirming care, so many other things. And so he had this to say. The Supreme Court has a constitutional responsibility to protect the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness of all Americans, including minors. These are principles outlined in our Declaration of Independence, a founding document of our democracy. My hope is that the Supreme Court will protect these unalienable rights of minors and allow for gender-affirming care. Our youth are our future. What do you kids think?
That's beautiful. I just wonder what exactly they're going to come up with next in terms of health care that they don't approve of. First abortion, now this. Are they going to make us stop having plastic surgery, or somebody's against having hysterectomies? Who knows what could be next if we go down this road? You know, this is health care.
This is health care. Yeah. This is health care. And, you know, today is actually the anniversary of Dobbs versus Jackson, which is the one that overturned Roe versus Wade. You know,
you're giving me chills.
It's creepy times, Yvonne. They're creepy times.
And what they're saying is that, you know, parents cannot, you know, make these medical decisions for their kids. You know, it's not something that, you know, a kid wakes up one day and says, oh, I'm the other gender. Yeah. You know, this is a long process. This is a psychological evaluations. This is a lot of, you know, for everybody to be comfortable with, and for parents to make that decision for their kids, that's up to them. So for anybody to step in and just say that, you know, it's just wrong. You know?
Well, and the right-wing rhetoric, like these people think that we go into elementary schools and change the gender on people. You know what I mean? Like they really have just crazy notions about our community. You know, gender-affirming care is one thing. The surgeries that they might want to get are usually after 18, are usually after puberty, you know, and that's something that someone at 18 years old has the right to make those decisions, you know, but how are you going to, just like men are making decisions over my reproductive rights as a woman, you're not allowing a mother to make their rights to be able to take care of their own child.
Right.
You know, like you said, a kid doesn't wake up one day and say, I just don't want to be a girl one day. You know, it doesn't work that way. The parent sees their child suffering. Yeah. It takes, you know, I've heard of parents where they know at 4 or 5 years old that their kid is not comfortable in their own skin anymore. You know, the Trevor Project tells us always that gender-affirming care is key to not having these kids go think about killing themselves.
Absolutely.
Because that's what's happening more time than not. A kid is left alone to his own thoughts. He doesn't see himself represented anywhere. He sees laws being made against him, and they don't have the right capacity to differentiate this thing, and they make these horrible decisions of ending their lives because of these decisions that these grown-ass people are doing.
And it's just only because that they don't really know the whole extent of this, that they don't want to educate themselves. They don't want to, that they're all stuck in their own little houses and,
Well, that's true with a lot of issues. If people don't see it and they don't want to bother to become educated, they stick with what they know. And oftentimes it's not much.
Very true.
Nico.
And it also just challenges the 14th Amendment as well, and how we just want just to be like ourselves, and having those people that, that just take away things for the transgender community. It hurts a lot because they just want to be themselves. And so I think there needs to be a lot more empathy that goes within deciding what the next rules are.
And I think that you hit it spot on. Also in our own community, we were talking about this before we started the show. No one here understands the trans experience. No one at this table is trans, right? But we will support our trans siblings as much as possible. And everybody out there has to do the same. The trans community has this freaking target on their back. They're the lowest hanging fruit, and them and children are on the attack. Kids can't vote. and they're made such an important part of this fighting, and it's just awful. I spoke to Max Fenning also, which everybody knows that he's the ED over at Prism, and he's just such an inspiration, man. That kid, when he grew that mustache, I was so proud of him. And he said, all people deserve access to the healthcare they need to live happily and healthily as their true and authentic selves. Even with the makeup of this court, we remain hopeful that the Supreme Court will protect the rights of transgender youth to keep these decisions between them, their parents, and their doctors. I hope someone's listening.
Thanks. And thanks for talking with them.
Next this evening, let's queer up the USA view. Here's your first look at New York City's Stonewall National Monument Visitor Center opening this Friday. In a historical moment marking the 55th anniversary of the Stonewall riots, the Stonewall National Monument Visitor Center is set to open its doors this Friday, June 28th. Located adjacent to the iconic Stonewall Inn in Manhattan's Greenwich Village, the Visitor Center commemorates the pivotal events of June 1969 that catalyzed the modern gay rights movement. The center, managed by LGBTQ+ advocacy group Pride Live, aims to provide a safe and inclusive space for visitors to learn, reflect, and share their stories. Diana Rodriguez, co-founder and chief executive of Pride Live, and her partner of 39 years, Anne-Marie Gothard, are the driving forces behind this project. Go Girl Power. Gothard is also the board chair at Pride Live. They both emphasize the importance of creating such a safe space. Curated largely by LGBTQ+ activist Mark Segal, who participated in the 1969 uprising. The center features an art exhibition showcasing replicas of the original bar's jukebox and rotating displays by LGBTQ+ youths and allies. It's being accomplished in collaboration with the Parsons School of Design. Admission is free, made possible by corporate donations from companies like Google, Amazon, AARP, JP Morgan Chase, and Comcast NBC Universal. Rodriguez hopes that increased exposure to LGBTQ+ history through initiatives like the Visitor Center will lead to a decrease in assaults on the community. Here's your first look at Friday's opening on our LGBTQ+ Independence Day, June 28th. Watch this.
The bar's new next-door neighbor is a visitor center.
When this space became available, everything became a green light.
Anne-Marie, the bar's new next-door neighbor, is a visitor center.
When this space became available, everything became a green light.
Anne-Marie Gothard and Diana Rodriguez, partners for 39 years, are the driving forces behind this project. They've raised more than $3.2 million to create an educational pit stop for those visiting the Stonewall National Monument, a rainbow-coated park right across the street.
We think it's important to have this space that's a safe space, that's home for people to really walk in and learn, but also to share their stories.
How do the park rangers feel about it?
They're so excited. This is where they can start their tours. This is where you can get your passport stamped. Aside from us, I think they're probably the most excited for us to open.
Among the highlights, this jukebox, the same make and model as the one that was in Stonewall 55 years ago. You see, back in 1969, this space was actually the other half of the original Stonewall Inn.
It's emotional.
Where Mark Siegel first visited right after moving to New York at the age of 18.
And this was a safe place to come. It might have been a dive, might have watered down drinks, but it was safe. And that night, the place that I felt safe in became violent.
I'm so glad it's finally opened, right? I mean, it just missed Pride Month. You know, I am originally from New Jersey, and as a queer kid, I would run to the Village because that was where all the other queer people were. That was where I was allowed to be me, right? And then I had to go back to Jersey, the armpit of the United States, and go back to trying to be straight. I hated it.
I think I saw it in the half frame.
I hated it. Then I would go to Monster across the street. But anyway, it was, you know, the Stonewall Inn. That's our history, you know, and we live in a state where we're constantly they're trying to erase us at every corner, right? Mm-hmm. They don't want to teach LGBTQ plus history, but LGBTQ plus history, just like Black history, is freaking American history. That's what it is. That's it, plain and simple. Yeah. I'm so glad that this is open. You know, young generations, the Nicos of the world. Like, I wasn't alive in 1969, right? But the second I came out as a lesbian, I've been like told and retold about how important 1969 was. How the first Pride parade was a riot. It was not a parade. I've been taught that. I've been thrown that into my head. But I feel like the new generation hasn't gotten that thrown into their heads. And because they maybe don't live near Greenwich Village, you know, or they don't live near New York, they don't know about that history. You know, like we said in the story, that's kind of our gay independence. That was when it all started. That was when we were like, F this. We deserve to have human rights.
It's so important to have this because, you know, we have a generation now that is dwindling, you know, because of age. So, you know, we need to hear these stories and we need to hear what the account was on that day. And it's so important to have representation there and just to learn from that, you know, from Stonewall.
Well, do you know how lucky we are that we may not be in New York City this month, but we're in the second best place to really experience all of this? Because speaking of Robert Keston at the Stonewall National Museum and Archives, he's had a display up since the beginning of the month where he turned the whole museum and library into the Stonewall Inn. Yeah. It's amazing, the replica. And this Saturday, there's going to be a reenactment of the riots at the Stonewall National Museum and Archives. So it's the next best thing to be in New York City. I'm just so impressed with him. What an awesome idea.
Right? And I love that. Like, I told him, I was like, can I throw a brick? Can I throw a shot glass?
Don't they have Nerf?
I don't trust you with anything. They
have Nerf bricks. Yeah. I'm going to look tonight on Amazon for some Nerf bricks for us. How's that?
There you go.
I love that. That's the way to go, for sure. What does this make you think, Nico? I mean, you're the young kid at the table. Like, do you care about our history? Is it important to you?
I love the history. I think it's a great monument adding to the history, and just seeing the fact that, you know, the riots and history being made, it will never leave Stonewall and the Greenwich Village. So just because I know how, not to go off topic, but I know how like some, you know, teachers today, like they kind of just like, you know, throw under the rug about like gay history, and it's kind of like a loophole in education today. So it's important that we have these monuments and just remembrance of like where we came from.
I love that. Yeah. And something else that we should never forget is that, you know, a trans person was the first one to throw either the shot glass or the brick, depending on who you ask. Okay. Yeah. But they were at the forefront. They were the ones that were like, no mas. That's it. You know, always remember that. Ed, what's next, baby?
Oh, yes. Let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Governor DeSantis slashes arts funding. LGBTQ plus organizations face crisis. Florida's arts and culture scene face a dire setback as Governor Ron DeSantis recently eliminated most state funding for cultural arts programs in the upcoming fiscal year, dealing a severe blow to LGBTQ plus organizations already grappling with pandemic-induced challenges, giving the reason for the concerns about the appropriateness of the state taxes dollars Governor DeSantis vetoed nearly $1 billion from the state budget, effectively halting years of bipartisan support for arts and culture initiatives. The impact is particularly harsh for LGBTQ+ arts organizations, including the Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida and Stonewall National Museum Archives and Library, which face significant budget shortages due to the loss of state funding. The Our Fund Foundation, an LGBTQ+ philanthropic organization, supports numerous arts and culture nonprofits in South Florida. Its Arts and Culture Fund grants, in partnership with the Wharton Foundation, aim to alleviate some of the strain, but cannot fully compensate for the loss. The repercussions extend beyond artistic implications. Arts and culture funding generates a 9-to-1 return on investment, supporting jobs and tourism, and the contributing to Broward County's annual economic impact of $386 million. David Jobin, president and CEO of the Our Fund Foundation, urges LGBTQ+ and allied philanthropists to step up and support the Arts and Culture Fund. Donations received before July 31st will help bridge the funding gap, ensuring the continuity of vital LGBTQ+ arts initiatives in South Florida. To support the Our Fund Foundation's Arts and Culture Fund, visit our-fund.org. I'm so happy for, the Our Fund to step up like that, as well as Broward County Cultural Division. Phil Dunlap also gave a comment as well. It was shocking. How anybody thinks that cutting arts and culture is good in any aspect, and economic benefits. Yeah, I mean, there's possible loss of jobs. There's now, that affects tourism as well, as we know, because, people come here and they want to do something. And now, things are now cut. It also affects people that have jobs that are in the theaters and that are putting these productions together. It just trickles down all over.
Yeah.
It's pretty, it's undervaluing us, and in arts and culture, and it sends a very negative message. And, anybody that thinks that this was a good idea just really has a narrow mind, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
It reminds me of when I was younger. Let's say 25 or 30 years ago, and you guys can probably relate to this. And when we would be putting something together we had a mixed gay chorus back then that I was a part of, or we wanted to do something like that. People that were new to the community or had just come out, or even just allies, would give us ideas about what to do, and we would look at them like they were crazy because we didn't have the money to do it like that. No way.
Yeah.
Right? And then 20-ish years ago, that started to change. And in the meantime, that has enabled us to be seen as more legitimate. There's something to do besides go to bars to meet other gay people. So many benefits from finally being seen as legitimate arts organizations. Everything from the Lesbian Thespians I'm a part of, to the Stonewall National Museum, and obviously to the Gay Men's Chorus, even to this organization here. All of these things, really, as we started to be able to ask for that kind of funding, is when it began to grow and become legitimized to the community we are today, that's not just hiding in bars. So I just feel like we're going to suffer the most. Tourism in Miami is definitely going to suffer. And thank God for Our Fund, yes. And my wife, as the board chair for Lesbian Thespians, has learned so much from them, and they've gotten so much financial support. Thank God for Our Fund.
Listen, David Jobin is a class act, right? And he lives, breathes, and poops, making sure that other organizations have the money they need to successfully be able to entertain, to explore, to be their true, authentic self, Going back to one of the other stories we were talking about, this breaks my heart because, well, on so many different levels, right? But they know exactly what they're doing, folks, all right? They're targeting us in a different way.
Absolutely.
Who are the most people that are going to be affected by this? Are LGBTQ+.
Absolutely.
That's it. This is super devastating. As a kid, I ran to Broadway because that was where I felt safe. I didn't feel safe in the hood where I lived in Passaic, New Jersey. I felt safe in the Village. I felt off-Broadway little shows, wherever I can get my 2 pennies to go see something, That was our escape. So many LGBTQ+ people just are able to lose themselves in the arts.
Yeah.
Or even be able to express themselves in the arts.
Yeah.
Well, and we educated not just allies, but people that weren't expecting to see so much gayness in many occasions at the chorus, in the theater, etc.
Yes.
People learned by being exposed to that.
Yes.
And this is hurting all of those things.
Do you think?
No, and I absolutely agree with just like, being in like drama class growing up. Like,
Right?
there was a lot of self-expression and losing ourselves in theater. So it's definitely going to affect us in like a very big way.
Very big way. How about you start dealing with the fact that nobody can afford their homes anymore, or that nobody can afford gas anymore, or the price of everything has skyrocketed.
Is that what he's going to do with the money? He's going to cut our taxes?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
He's going to get some freaking people to give us insurance, because no one will insure us here in Florida. No,
Right.
he's not going to do any of that. He's just going to make our lives.
And he had no intelligent comment, real as to
why?
Why he really had
he
nothing
never
to
does.
say about it. So that spoke a lot to me. If you do not understand arts and culture, then I don't understand you.
Yeah, period. There it is. Next, let's queer up gay culture. Is gay media doing what all media is doing? Clickbaiting the headlines? Have you noticed a change in recent years in television, newspaper, and online media, and how they attract you to read and listen? Well, renowned comedian and HBO host Bill Maher has its stirring controversy once again with his new book, What This Comedian Said Will Shock You. That's the name of his book. The title of the book is a play on clickbait that is seemingly to become pervasive in our society. The book hit the New York Times #1 on the bestseller list. In this insightful and humorous work, Maher delves into what he perceives as America's societal pitfalls, from its culture wars to its political stalemate. A notable excerpt from Maher's book tackles the contentious issue of historical revisionism, particularly in how history is taught to younger generations. Maher criticizes both liberals and conservatives for their respective attempts to manipulate historical narratives for political gain. He warns against the dangers of rewriting history to fit contemporary moral standards, listening to it, quote, fan fiction rather than factual accounts. He uses media growing reliance to sensationalize headlines and stories to get you to read and listen. He makes fun of applying modern standards to figures like George Washington, suggesting that being woke is akin to a magic moral time machine. One particularly striking statement from Maher addresses the tendency to congratulate oneself on moral superiority, such as having a gay friend, for example. In his new book, Maher also talks about gay media clickbaiting the headlines. Is that true? Is us, Queer News Tonight, being blamed for it too? I think everybody does it. I don't think it's just such a queer thing. I think that is how you get people to read something. On social media, I'll say like, I FayWhat had a makeout session with, and then I put ... You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to tell you who it was, I'm going to let you try to find out and stir some controversy in it. And I think Bill Maher is known to do that, He's got some interesting political insights, and he's got some crap political insights as well. And we still live in the U.S. and he still has the right to have his opinion on things. I think that everybody, news, radio, newspaper, everything has used clickbait as getting their point across for many years. I don't think it's a new thing personally.
No, it's a marketing tool.
Yeah.
It's more or less to take you to another thing, whether to buy something or read something or whatever it is. So, it's a clever tool, but for people like Bill Maher and stuff, you walk a very fine line with things like that and pointing, getting things across. So,
yeah.
We all know people's attention spans get shorter and shorter, and that these kinds of things, clickbait and things like, what's the name of that company? Meta. They exploit that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Don't say anything bad, Yvonne. They'll turn off all your stuff tomorrow. Okay.
It might be gone. Oh shit! Where'd my Facebook go?
But I mean, that's how that works.
But it's true that they exploit the fact that they've find these exciting ways to get our attention, because now they've helped us make our attention spans shorter, and we're more impatient to get to the information. So they think that will work better, and so far. They're right.
No, and sometimes it works against us. I have seen, and there's news articles like, our drag queens making our children gay, something like that is going to stir up a controversy. It's going to get you to click that next button to do it.
Do you ever click the what she looks like now?
No, I haven't. Have you?
Yes, and it's never the same person they're baiting you with, so don't do it.
No, I think that they've used my friend Raji, and like, it'll be like, oh, look at this person now, and it'll be like, not her, and I'll be like, what the heck, like, and I'll send it to her like, hey, Raji, they think you look like this person, and I'll be like, not them.
If you're on like the meta platforms, let's say like that, you as much as I am, you get to see some of that fakeness and stuff and those clickbaits right away, because you can tell right away that it doesn't look right in terms of like that. But it's very deceptive, and you have to really think about, like, if I'm a marketing person and I want to get my message across, do I want to be deceptive about it? And do I want to put that message out with my brand and stuff? So I have to ask those questions.
Yeah, no, I get it. And because it's true. There's a line between being deceptive and just maybe giving a little more. Like, David Archuleta, I love him, right? He was on Rock the Block last year, whenever. I don't even know what day it is, folks, so whatever, right? So he'll post a picture of himself, like, in sweatpants, and he's not wearing any underwear, right? And he's doing it just like that. That's clickbaiting, right? I'm going to check what the next picture is. I want to see you, he's without a shirt and in just his sweatpants. That's the clickbaiting we need in life, all right? Show me a half-naked man or woman, I'll click again.
There we go.
Yvonne,
that's the only kind that's allowed from now on.
That's it.
You hear me, Facebook? Okay. So how about next, let's queer up social justice. Justice Sotomayor says ruling against foreign spouses will most heavily harm same-sex couples. U.S. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor issued a stark warning on Friday, cautioning that the recent ruling by her right-wing colleagues could pose a significant threat to LGBTQ plus marriage equality in the future. Hadn't heard this one until today. In the case of Department of State versus Munoz, the Supreme Court justices voted 6-3 along ideological lines, of course, asserting that American citizens do not possess a fundamental right to have their foreign spouses admitted to the United States. What? This decision, I did it again. This is crazy. And of course she's saying that this will disproportionately affect same-sex couples and could potentially lay the groundwork for the reversal of federal LGBTQ plus marriage equality. Sotomayor's dissent referenced the landmark 2015 ruling in Obergefell versus Hodges, which legalized same-sex marriage nationwide. Emphasizing the fundamental nature of the right to marry, she criticized her conservative colleagues for prioritizing a broad interpretation of marriage rights over procedural considerations. Drawing parallels to the 2022 ruling in Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization, which rolled back federal abortion rights, Sotomayor argued that the majority's decision reflected a dangerous trend of undermining fundamental liberties. No kidding. Sotomayor's dissent serves as a poignant reminder, you go, girl, of the ongoing struggle to safeguard LGBTQ plus rights in the face of judicial challenges. After Dobbs, Justice Clarence Thomas said the same standard used by the court should be used to revisit previously settled law, including mixed-race marriage of the 1960s and gay marriage. Republicans loudly said Dobbs was not an alarm for LGBTQ plus marriage. This new decision, according to Sotomayor, could be a step forward to impede recognition of same-sex marriages. I think that any little cracks that they can start to put in the protections of that decision, they're going to do it. Mm-hmm. They're going to do anything they can to start wearing away at it so that it's not that big of a deal when all of a sudden, sure, we're married, but you're married, but you can't give your spouse these rights. You can't leave your money to your spouse without doing this. They're going to chip away at things through other courses until something comes up that they can use, like the Dobbs decision.
Yeah.
And what I'm confused about is they can't unmarry us all, can they?
No.
But we can still be married, but we can have a lot less legal rights. Yeah. And they can I feel a fear. I have felt a fear since Dobbs happened that they were going to start to chip away.
Yeah. Backtracking everything, we've come so far as a country and as a society and stuff. And then, it's these last 8 years where everything has just gone backwards and, and they're just so afraid of our quote unquote woke agenda or whatever it is that is being, magnified in their scared brains. It's just.
No, we have to remember nothing fantastic and causing human progress goes without backlash.
Yeah, but
You know?
so much backlash.
I know.
Yvonne. Like, how are you going to say that gay people, LGBTQ plus people, don't have the fundamental right to bring their partner over, someone that they want to spend their life with? I don't fucking get that. And I have to use that word because it's just like, you're telling us again that we're beneath others, that we're second class citizens. So I was freaking born here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The reality is that you've already taken my flag away, right? I can't even look at the flag without getting some kind of PTSD from when Trump was running in 2020.
Good point.
You know? And now you're
I'm
making
always
me
fearful that it's a Trump flag when I see an American flag. Now
Isn't
you're
that
right.
crazy? Because with the American flag comes a Trump flag. That's now we're scared of that. Our own flag, though, Yvonne. You know.
Yeah.
And Clarence Thomas, don't even get me started on you, bro. What is wrong with you? Like, you're okay. You're married to a white woman, dude. Like,
I had to look at that twice. I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
yes.
He did
Yeah,
what?
We're in upside down world, Yvonne, and like nobody's cornered him and been like, bitch, what? Like, no, nobody has done that to him. Like,
I'm sure they have.
how is that possible? And Justice Sotomayor, keep fighting, girl.
Right.
Keep fighting, woman.
Yes, thank
okay,
you.
I want to keep you in a bubble. Don't get sick or anything. Okay, because we need you. We need you to constantly be fighting as a Latina, as a woman, as everything that you represent. You know, because there is some kind of light there. Something that is someone that's thinking about us.
Thank God.
Thank God. Okay, I'll take a breath now. Sorry, folks at home. I just got a little, you know.
You're looking a little blurry there. Like,
I know. Okay, I know.
the energy's just coming off of her.
Sorry. All right, Nico, what's next, buddy?
Next, let's queer up politics. Gay Republican Richard Grenell is advising Trump on presidential debate. Former President Donald Trump is gearing up for this week's highly anticipated debate with President Joe Biden in Atlanta, hosted by CNN. However, unlike conventional debate preparations, Trump is taking a unique approach favoring town hall events and policy meetings over mock debates. Trump is holding policy meetings with advisors and congressional allies focusing on key topics such as the economy, immigration, and democracy. Rather than memorizing scripted responses, the campaign is arranging sessions with policy experts to ensure Trump is well-versed on potential debate topics. During a recent visit with congressional Republicans, Trump engaged in a debate discussion sessions with Senators Marco Rubio and Richard Schmidt alongside a group of his advisors. Many of these sessions have included individuals from his previous administration. It was revealed this week that included Richard Grenell, a former acting director of national intelligence, who is openly gay. Grenell is advising Trump on international issues that will likely be debated. The CNN debate on June 27th, moderated by anchors Jake Tapper and Dana Bash, will last approximately 90 minutes with 2 commercial breaks. It marks the first of 2 scheduled debates between the candidates, with the second hosted by ABC News on September 10th. In an election year characterized by tight races, both candidates are viewing the debate as an opportunity to sway undecided voters and solidify their positions on key issues. What kills me is Richard Grenell. He says he's bipartisan and he's for both sides, but I don't know. You can definitely tell he is more right-wing than anything. So
Absolutely.
Just to help Trump have more knowledge on international affairs.
Yeah, well, I wasn't expecting Trump to go and ask Bob the drag queen to help him with freaking public speaking. I wasn't expecting that by far, but I was surprised that this dude is gay. And but whatever, you know, even gay people make mistakes.
I love the fact that that Trump, this is what, his 3rd time running as president, and now he's deciding that maybe he needs a little bit of counseling to maybe go into a debate.
Now, now he's counseling after 3 years.
But we all know how that's going to turn out. So
Interesting, but I am disappointed. Any gay Trump supporter has my sincere disappointment.
Yeah.
And dismay.
Yeah, me too. It's like gay people driving Teslas. What's wrong with you? Come on. What's wrong with you? Okay, a couple of things that we know about the debate, right? Like Nico had said, it's 9 p.m. on Thursday. It's going to be on CNN, right? No props or notes are allowed. They are given a pen and a notepad and a bottle of water. That's it. Kind of like jail. The mics are muted until it's time for them to speak. Okay, which is a huge huge thing because we would always hear Trump be a bully and talk over the other people and all of that.
They'd only done that for Hillary.
That's not going to happen, so mics will be muted until it's time to speak. There will be no audience. And like Nico said, also, it will last 90 minutes. So, Jake Tapper and Dana Bush know what they're doing. They're going to be incredible moderators, right? And they also have that help that the mics will be muted until it's their time to speak. That's going to help a lot when it comes to, Trump.
Do we put it,
that he goes,
do we put it past Trump to just yell as loud as he can?
Oh, no. No.
He will. He'll do that.
Not at all. Well, we'll be watching for sure. Next, let's queer up travel. Visit Lauderdale invites you to experience pickleball fever during Pride Month. If you're looking for a new sporting adventure in Greater Fort Lauderdale, look no further than the thrilling world of pickleball. Pickleball, the fastest growing sport in the United States, has taken hold in Greater Fort Lauderdale, captivating players of all ages and skill levels. With numerous courts scattered throughout the community from Coconut Creek to Pompano Beach, pickleball is easily accessible for locals and visitors alike. But the excitement doesn't stop there. Greater Fort Lauderdale is set to make history with the construction of the Fort, the world's first pickleball stadium at Snyder Park in Fort Lauderdale. Needless to say, gays are gonna love it. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a curious beginner like me, there's a court waiting for you to join in on in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Everyone under the sun.
Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We are broadcast Sunshine Cathedral Sunday International service at 10:30 a.m.
We finished tonight's Queer News headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up gay culture. 80% of same-sex couples fear loss of marriage equality. A new report from the Williams Institute at UCLA reveals that around 80% of same-sex married couples worry about losing marriage equality. The study found that 79.3% are very or somewhat concerned about the potential overturning of Obergefell versus Hodges, the 2015 Supreme Court ruling that legalized same-sex marriage. Additionally, 94.2% said that the ruling made a difference for them, with 62.8% marrying after the landmark decision. Yeah, I mean, again, this is a very healthy fear that our community has, you seeing everything being taken away from us, every right. And, I would definitely be concerned if I was married.
I'm petrified. I'm petrified. I think about it every night. I don't want to be single. I do bad things when I'm single. Okay, I said it. It's the truth.
All right. As I mentioned before, yes, I fear that they're already starting to chip away, and that if nothing changes in the Supreme Court soon, we're in trouble.
And I'm scared also that maybe it'll take away a lot of more of just not just marriage, but more rights that we already have. So I hope that, we can be less calm and content during this time. But of course we have to worry that they might overturn.
Yeah.
Sure. What's next, Nico?
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up trans rights. 12,000 snitches, not one was verified. An anti-LGBTQ plus toilet tattle hotline. 6 weeks after Utah Republicans introduced a public snitch form to report transgender individuals using government bathrooms, the state auditor's office received over 12,000 submissions. The state revealed this week they could not verify a single complaint. The form, created following HB 257, mandates government bathrooms to be designated by assigned sex at birth. Despite receiving thousands of spam entries, including memes and a picture of bull testicles, only 5 reports were deemed plausible, none of which could be substantiated. I definitely think that this is a big spam, and I don't know why they even had this to have to.
Well, congratulations to the 12,000 entry makers, whether it was the same person or 12,000 different people. It reminds me a lot of when Trump was running for president, and when we found out, Democrats, especially female Democrats, found out where he was holding a rally in Florida, we would all buy the tickets.
Yeah.
We would all buy the tickets so that there would be a half-empty auditorium. It worked out pretty well.
I love your style.
I love the people that organize stuff like that.
Right?
It's just amazing.
It was awesome.
I mean, especially in Utah, to get 12,000 of them.
I know. That was a concerted effort by some good organizations.
Yeah, that was some good gays there. And for the rest of you, listen, I come from the world where snitches get stitches, okay? That's the world I come from. So you might, just be careful with that.
Keep that in mind.
I'm just saying. LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up politics. Freedom 20, new water for right wing. At the recent Turning Point USA convention in Detroit, a new product called Freedom Water was unveiled. Marketed to appeal to right-wingers, founded by Elizabeth White, described it as, quote, rebellious and unapologetic. White, who conceived the idea while watching a Republican debate from her couch in South Florida, is now selling the branded water to kids. In full disclosure, Freedom 20 is not a magic potion. It's just freaking water. That's it. All right. Listen, Freedom Water tastes like plastic and hate, just like some of you do.
Does she have to live in Florida? I mean, come on.
Aren't we suffering enough here?
Oh my God. Enough already.
Yeah, serious.
So, LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up the USA view. I didn't think this was going to be as fun or as interesting as it is. Pornhub. They have unveiled their U.S. gay porn viewing trends. Pornhub, in collaboration with Pride.com, has released new insights into gay porn viewing habits across the U.S. The top search category overall was straight guys, but regional preferences vary. The West Coast favored bareback content, while the Midwest and New York leaned toward twinks. Southerners preferred content featuring black actors. Unique state searches included farmers in Michigan, vintage cowboys in Wyoming, and construction workers in Rhode Island. Notably, older generations were significantly more likely to watch gay porn, with the 65-plus age group leading at 104% more likely to use Pornhub search.
Cha-ching!
Well, I can understand why that might be true. And like I said, wasn't that a lot more fun than you expected?
Yeah. I mean, it just shows you that there's something for everybody.
It sure
how
does.
diverse our porn community is, and adult entertainment. That's wonderful.
Yes, I never
there's
dreamed.
something for everybody.
Yeah.
Yes, and listen, and thank you, Pornhub, because Pornhub saves lives. Okay, I said it here. Yes, I did say it. It's free and it's porn and we need it. And I, for one, when I get out of the show, I am going to look for straight black twinks that like bareback.
What about the farmers?
Oh, the farmer. That has farm animals. Part of
the construction
it does have. You think there's farm animals in the farmer ones?
No, I'm just saying maybe he's just a farmer. I'm okay with that too. Okay. A black farmer who's also a twink that also looks straight that is into bareback. That's what I'm going to look for when I get out. I have a feeling I'm going to find it.
If not, you're going to make it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What's next, Nico?
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up gay culture. People celebrated National Kissing Day. Did you? Every June 22nd, National Kissing Day celebrates the timeless act of kissing. Kissing has ancient roots, with the earliest evidence dating back to around 2500 BCE in Mesopotamia. Ancient texts from India and Egypt also reference kissing around 1500 BCE. Today, kisses express affection, desire, and connection. Here are some of the posts steaming up queer social media feeds this year.
Love it. I love it. I love, I love when two women like love each other and they do that porn kissing, right? You know what I mean? Like, I love that. I lick her face and everything. Cause my wife is more like, soft, half mouth open, bite bottom lip, insert tongue, right? And I'm all about that. That's how she got me. You know what I mean? But firm kissing sometimes, like, it's needed. You know what I mean? It's needed. You don't think?
Yeah.
Too much tongue can be too much tongue,
Too much tongue can be too much tongue.
Especially when it's out of the mouth, like when the mouths aren't together and you're just seeing all the tongues flying around.
The tongue is like down the throat.
Especially,
it's like I can't breathe.
Yeah, especially if it's a black farmer that appears straight.
I mean, totally. It's like, what are you thinking about when you're sticking your tongue down my throat? Like, Have you ever kissed somebody for the first time and been like, oh, this ain't gonna work?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because kissing will tell you if the sex is going to be good later, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, it tells you something, for sure.
Just saying, you should celebrate Kissing Day every day. You heard it right here.
That is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform. Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support if our community is to grow. We must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, FayWhat? And on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the incredible anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Edward Otto Zielke, Yvonne, hold on, I'm going to get it, Rohrbacher. I love that. You should be a bear. Maybe you were a bear in your past life.
I always thought of it as a lion.
Oh, no, it's more of a bear.
Okay.
I'll ask the bears of South Florida. They'll tell you. It's more of a Yvonne Rohrbacher. I love that. And Nico Cales being all cute as he only can be. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. And to our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you a good night. Good night.
Good night.